So let's talk about this other topic. I know this is one of the reasons why I originally said to myself, I don't know if it's the right time to buy a Tesla yet. Because you read the stats and you see, hey, like your Tesla Model 3 long range can go about 530 kilometers, right? You read that, and just personally me, and I deal with lots of technology and products that have batteries. Okay, my camera, it's got batteries, my monitor has batteries, my lighting has batteries, everything's got batteries. And the one thing I know is that in cold temperatures, my batteries get destroyed. Like I lose 50%. Sometimes they just die randomly because of the extreme cold. This was my core hesitation. I loved everything Tesla was doing. I just couldn't see myself buying a car knowing that I'm going to get 40% of the battery range and I may have range anxiety in the future because it's not going to get me to where I need to get to and I'm going to have that problem. And I didn't want to feel like I was constrained like that. You've had this car for a year. You've gone through a Canadian winter. You have the long range. Tell us, should people be worried about range anxiety, in your opinion?
Depending on what you're doing, like if you're going to drive like 200-kilometer trip, just charge it up. Make sure that when you where you are arriving, that there's a supercharger on route or at the end or at the destination, in case you do feel that anxiety. Battery degradation in the winter is a real thing. Like I was just trying to do some tests and the main factor is like the cabin heating. That just because the Model 3 that I have doesn't have the water or the heat pump. So I know the newer Model Ys and the Model 3s, the 2021 models at least, have the heat pump, which is a bit more efficient with the in-cabin heating. But usually when I drive and I'm driving on my own, I just turn heating off. Like that, this is what they recommend: just turn the heating off and just turn your seat warmers on, and then that way you stay warm. And so in the summer, my average kilowatt hour per kilometer is it kilometer? Yeah, whatever the stat they have like this onboard app is 150 kilowatts per kilometer. So that's my average efficiency or for optimal temperatures. In the wintertime, if you turn off all the heat and in the turn off your seat warmers too, you're pretty close to like 155 to 160. As soon as you turn on the heat, it jumps up to like 180. So you are losing a good amount of efficiency. Same thing with like heat warmers and everything else. But it's
But
not as bad as it seems. Like, yes, there's a lot of factors to increasing your battery degradation. Like when your battery's not optimal temperatures, you don't have regenerative braking, so you can't add more battery to it. When it's a cold battery, it takes longer to. I think it's just keeping the battery at an optimal temperature also uses energy. For example, like if I leave my car in the garage, it'll lose kilometers just because it has to make sure that the battery is at an optimal temperature, and then you need heat to do that, so it doesn't, it's not able to generate that. So like just sitting there in mind you, like I'm in a not an insulated but an enclosed garage, it's still able to lose some range. But like if I were at like a go train station or a TTC like parking lot or anything, over 8 hours day in the, it'll lose some significant amount of energy just to stay warm.
okay, I want to hop on that point. 8 hours parked at the GO train. We're talking negative 20. How much range, like by percentage, do you think you lose just in 8 hours?
I It's hard to say because I haven't had to experience it because of COVID, but I'm sure there's reviews online of how much they lose overnight from people parking their car outside. So I don't want to give you an exact number, but it will lose. I would say a significant amount, but maybe like 5 to 10 kilometers, let's say, for an 8 hours. So
Oh, okay, that's nothing.
yeah,
See,
okay,
where I was coming from the fence is like, am I going to have significant degradation of my range, just like a phone, maybe frozen, and I
yeah,
lose 50%? But that's not the case.
yeah. You know, you're not going to lose it in 8 hours, but I
Okay.
know they say that the average battery degradation over the wintertime is you'll lose 30 to 50% of your range, and I could see it being there. Like I haven't had to I never did a full test where I charge it and I drive in the wintertime, like negative 10 degrees Celsius, and see how far I can go. Just because I don't need to drive 500 kilometers one way somewhere in the winter. But it is, you do lose a bit, but having the convenience of just charging at home overnight so that when you do wake up and you're ready to go, you're at full capacity, it's definitely nice to have.
Yeah, and it's very easy, right? You just drive into your garage, you just pop up the cover, and you just plug it in. It takes like, what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the good thing, like, I don't know if this is with all other EVs. I'm sure most other EVs do too. But you can schedule your charging so that you can do it during off-peak limit or off-peak charging rates, or you can do it so that it is at full capacity when you departure. So at least with the Tesla, you can say, I am leaving for work at 8 a.m. Make sure that when you schedule it, it makes sure that your battery is at the capacity that you set it to, and that your cabin pressure and your battery is at full optimization so that it can recharge, or your interior of your car is at a comfy 20 degrees so that you're ready to go. So yeah.
And so even though you have it plugged in, by the way, in the garage, it won't charge until it says like you put the time in the app when you want it to begin charging.
Exactly. So they'll calculate like how long it will take to charge, and I think it's a little off. Like for example, like I set it to be, I wanted to depart at 9 o'clock, so that I would assume that it would be 100% by 9 o'clock, and it was done like super early, like 7:30 or 8 o'clock, like an hour, a full hour ahead of time. So
Right.
it could probably use a bit of tweaking for that, but I mean, maybe like they're like expecting people to leave early. Yeah,
Okay.
at least it's able to get it to the full capacity. And it's not even full capacity. It's whatever you set it. You can set it to like 80%, 90%, or 100%. So usually I only use that feature if I'm going on a road trip and I know that we're leaving at like 8 a.m. in the morning and we just want to like have it full charge so that we're ready to go.
Right. And the supercharger network, by the way, if you guys haven't seen the video, it was on my first drive in review. I'm also going to put it up on the video, but it's a pretty vast supercharger network in Ontario. I was actually surprised to see the amount of superchargers just dotted across all over Southern Ontario and Toronto. So that's the other thing I would say to people is that, you know, if you do have those long road trips, there are superchargers everywhere. And that's the good thing about Tesla. They really invested in their supercharger network. I'm looking at it right now. They have 2,000 supercharger stations dotted across North America with over 20,000 superchargers.
Yeah. So it's definitely convenient. And so another app that I use, I haven't had to actually use it yet. It's called PlugShare, at least, and that will show you all the third-party non-Tesla. I'm sorry, not non-Tesla, but all the chargers everywhere. So it's meant for whatever the EV, or not EV, but the Volt and other EV cars that they need to charge, which they can't use a Tesla supercharger, so they have to use this. But fortunately, a lot of them do have Tesla superchargers as well for them. They'll have like an app. They'll have reviews of like when people use it last, which ones are broken, which car they had. So they, at least it's like it's a social app where it's like you kind of give ratings to how they did and if it's free or not, or if you have to pay for it.
Interesting. So that's a third party app, not
Yeah.
Tesla
No.
owned at all.
Yeah. So I mean, on top of like the Tesla supercharger, you can also rely on the non-Tesla chargers if they have a Tesla charger. So it just more reasons to help you with your range anxiety in case you're like, oh, I don't have a Tesla charger here, but hey, this hotel close by would have a charger.
Amazing. Well, listen, this was such a great chat. If any of you on the channel have any questions, leave them down in the comment box down below. If you like this video, make sure you like it again. And I want to say thank you so much for being part of the podcast, the Downshift podcast. If you haven't already, make sure you also subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple, all of the places where any of these podcasts are hosted. And we will be doing more videos of the Tesla. My friend here has really got me into it. And, you know, we're talking about all these different things. And you all know on the channel, I have my IS350. It's a little old in the tooth, right? I have my IS250, also very old in the tooth, both over 300,000 kilometers. And when I'm looking for my next car, I don't see why I wouldn't be going for an electric car like a Tesla to get me from point A to B, especially for those people that are looking for just a daily driver and a daily commuter. Again, the one thing we just talked about, the only thing we're missing is the noise, and that's the only thing. But let us know also in the comment box down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And again, thank you so much for being on the Downshift podcast.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Cool. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video.